Okay, whew, back at it. I did go, my head's cut off. Y'all gonna have to deal with that part. So, back at it. All I'm drinking is some black tea, and it has no sugar in it. But funny thing is, it tastes sweet. Maybe it's just me. It could be the brand. It was a K cup. Lipton. Anyway, so I'm here trying to get these pants done. So, like I said, I am going to make some modifications to the pants. I am widening it about an inch on both sides of the pants, and I will probably drop it a little bit more from the hip line. This curves in a little bit more, and I'll probably drop it straight down. So this, excuse me, will be more of a wide leg pant. Wide leg pant. Now it says this is my pattern, but I like to double check. Yeah, because I know my crouch. This is, my patterns are extreme anyway. So with the changes that I'm making it a little bit about an inch wider at the hip, at the waist and down the hip area and down the bottom. It's probably going to be closer to an inch and a half at the very bottom. I'm going to do the same on both pieces. And then I'm not going to adjust anything here in the crouch area. I will, as you can tell, there's about, that looks like 5-6 inches. I don't care about that. I am going to still cut across, but I'm going to make sure that when I cut across that I don't disturb this part so much, because this is what I'm going to add in to my actual my hem. This is where I'm going to get my hem from. This is where I'm going to get it from. I just need to be careful, because what I'm going to want to do is I'm probably going to cut it across, straight across. What I want to do is to have enough that I can do about an inch, about 2 inches for my waistband, just in case I need it. Not saying that I need it, just in case I need it. But I want the stretch of the fabric to go across, so that it gives me the comfort of not having to shimmy into the pants in the first place. So that's some things need to be done. So save myself the headache. I will probably, yeah. All right, we're good. I'm just I was that's a thought. I was double checking because I remembered. I thought it was a fabric I had it. It had some hook spots to it. It wasn't this fabric, thank God. So I'm get my pants still home. So I'm cool with that. Make sure when you do your pants, they also are straight grain, because that makes a difference as to where it stretches at. If you want your pants to stretch widthwise, make sure you watch where the stretch is, because this material, it does stretch this way, and it doesn't stretch the length of the next to the selvage. It does not stretch. So make sure you know how you're laying your fabric out. I do sometimes change the direction, but only if I know that the design will allow me. One other thing, I do not use electric cutter, and I know a lot of people do. I was planning to purchase one, But what ended up happening, I was in the fabric store. It was two different fabric stores on the same day, and they were using the electric one. And I realized at that point that the humming of the electric scissors makes my head hurt. So much so that I was glad I was only getting one thing cut, because I got out of there really quickly because of that humming sound. Y'all don't understand, certain humming sounds and everything bother a lot of people, and that was like ridiculous how bad the sound was, the vibration, the pitch. Anyway. All right, so I have cut both pieces out. The next thing I'll need to cut is the pocket and cut the cuff or the extension of the leg. Now, if I wanted to, I could probably get away with not doing it and make them more like a culotte or a gaucho or whatever. But I need more long pants, and I don't have as many boots that I could probably wear with these pants. And if it don't hit at the right point, they may look funny. I don't know. I may not do that. How about this? We're going to just sew these pants up, and we'll figure out whether or not we need a cuff afterwards, because that must be a longer inseam than I thought. Melissa may not have to do that, because I think my inseam's 30. So these may be long enough anyway. I guess I probably should have measured. But it's okay, because I measured off the same amount on both pair of pants. I'm on both the front and back. So I may be able to I kind of wanted the cuff. I just may end up doing maybe an inch. Take off a little bit more and maybe an inch. Like I said, the only thing I changed or added was I made my legs a little bit wider, dropping from the hip line down. So the front maybe an inch and a half. The back was about an inch and a half as well. So it's going to give a fuller look, but not a real dramatic change, I don't think, because I did make it a little bit fuller in the hips, which is not a big issue for me. I don't mind it being a little fuller, but I did keep with the waistline still dipping in a lot. I dropped the front. My pattern is already set up for a little bit of a drop in the front, so that when I put them on, I shouldn't have a lot of excess. I did add about an inch on the front and the back in the crotch area, because I want to avoid maybe putting on a waistband. I kind of want them just a fold over kind of elastic. We'll see. I'm not stressed either way, because I do have enough of the scrap left And if these work, I need to make some notes. I know they'll work, but the fact that I took off 3 inches is the difference. I'm more concerned about that than anything, because I haven't measured my crouch in a while. I mean, my inseam. I haven't measured in a while, so right offhand, I don't remember what it is. But I need to make pockets. And I think I'm going to make a plain pocket. I'm not even going to make, like, there's a couple of different ways I've done, especially knit pockets. I sometimes like to put the pocket on the outside of the pants. And if I do the pocket on the outside, I literally will, and I think I'm going to do that because it'll be a nicer quality look. I just got to make sure I drop it down far enough. Maybe do I have enough either way. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and make a pocket. And I'm going to go ahead and make an easier pocket. Even though I have enough to be able to do something really different, I want to reduce the bulk in making this pocket. See where I actually, when I ended up laying the crouch area of the pants basically towards each other, you give it a nice fullness right here. So if I wanted to do a front and back to the pocket, I could. I have enough to work with, but I am going to reduce that down so that I'm reducing the bulkiness, and keep the pocket from floating inside the pants. Plus, it will look better when you wear like a shirt that's tucked in, because you'll have a flat pocket and it's not going to be flapping underneath. Also, it will look a little bit more aesthetically pleasing, at least to me. At least to me. So there's 2 different things I'm gonna do. So, yeah. All right. So I am going to make my pocket a lot more stable, and it's going to keep it from stretching as I place it on top. And it'll make it easier to sew it in place. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually draft the pocket really quick right here. You're going to see me do it. I've already done some measurements, so you'll see something else too. I already did my measurements. I know that I wanted to cover the area. I wanted to be about 6 inches wide and about 11 inches long. That's the smallest distance I want it to be. So I got to add in like another 1/2 inch both ways, so that when it goes into the seam and when I actually reduce the size of the pocket, when I sew the interface into it, it'll come out the way I want. Hope that makes sense. All right, so we're gonna do this, and I'm gonna actually bring the camera down to here. Okay, what I did was I measured out the width and the length that I wanted, which was 11 inches long and 6 inches wide. I used the square just so that I can get to make sure it was big enough. Then I went in and carved out a spot where my hands would reach into the pocket, which was, I think, about 5 inches down, I believe. Almost half the length of the pocket. Then after using the ruler, I need to make a curved edge because I didn't want it to be a square. I wanted it curved because it was going to be easier to sew into place. You'll see what I mean as I go along.
So this process did take me about 15 minutes to do. Types or duplicate, excuse me. I want to cut a tricot, which is the fabric that you see now, and that's a tricot interfacing. And also I was going to cut out the actual fashion fabric. By doing it this way, it was going to allow me to fuse the interfacing to the fabric, which would stabilize the fabric much better, and it will make it way easier to sew into place because it's going to make it more stable. Duh. Now it's time for me to set up my machine. This is a 4-thread Singer serger. So I'm switching from the green to the black. And once I'm done making sure everything has been changed over, I am going to get a piece of fabric of the same material I plan to work with to test it out. After I tested out, I had to go back and see where there was the stitches weren't falling correctly. And this is why I always suggest to you to test out your stitches, because you can run into a problem and you don't want to begin your project and have to start all over again because you did not test your stitches. Now I am serging the interfacing to the fashion fabric, and I'm making sure that I put right sides together, because once I put right sides together, when I turn them inside out, I will fuse the interfacing to the back side of this fabric, and it will give it much more stability. I do suggest to not do what I'm doing right now, which is not use pins, because the fashion fabric and the tricot can shift, and you don't want to distort your pocket because you did not pin it to reduce the chances of that shift.
Okay, this is a blip inside this video, and it is what it is. So I've been trying to finish a pair of pants for a couple days. Of course, house life always comes in. Now I'll tell you, I'm not proper about everything. I just do stuff. So, anyway, and I wanted to show you the mishap that I ran into, but I am still gonna use this part. So I am making a pair of pants, wide leg pants. I don't know if y'all know that's my favorite type of pants to wear, but I love them. They look great on me. They're very slimming for me. And because I make them for myself, they fit me really well. That's one thing. So I made a pocket. This is the pocket style I went for because I am doing a knit. I didn't want the extra bulk added into the pants where you see that bunching look around the pocket area. So to avoid that, I wanted to make basically a patch pocket, a pocket that will sit on top, which means that's going to reduce that flapping or demolish that flapping thing that goes on when you have pockets in your pants. But I did this shape, which the shape is fine. There's nothing wrong with the shape. I probably could have extended a little bit more here, but it's fine. There's additional markings, and I just drew it. I think the recording will have it. I don't know because I've been having issues with recording. Yeah, that happens. So it's gonna actually move in because I'm gonna sew another piece to it. So this is the actual patch pocket, the size and everything. I actually did tricot knit interfacing fusible, and here's the pocket. So you can tell it's much smaller than what it is. The mistake I made, I did not pin this very well. I didn't pin it well. I think I put 3 pins in it. I was like, it'd be fine. Well, in doing so, this is what happened. The actual tricot knit is smaller than my pocket. It's a little bit smaller than I want. I don't mind like a eighth of an inch smaller, but this is probably more of probably a 3/4, maybe something like that. But that smallerness in certain, like up here, it's fine. That's not a big issue. It's down here. The distance from here to here was different, and you can kind of tell it's starting to curl a little bit more. So I'm going to have to be very careful when I iron this to the net. This is not a process you need to rush on. This is part that I'm going to take my time on so that I can make sure that it's laid flat and neat. It happens. I don't stress about it. I make it work when it's my project, but if I'm doing it for a client, I don't I'll recut it. I just automatically will recut it. So you got to figure out what's best for you, but take your time when you get to this point. And the easiest way to kind of make it mold to what you want, which I'm going to do right now, is either you pin it or clip it before you iron it. Pin it, clip it, or before you iron it. Okay, let's go over here.
You will see that I use multiple pins, rolling the interfacing towards the edge without making it visible on the right side. And it's easier to do that by doing this from the back side of the pocket. I guess my coffee was really good this day. Anyway, so I got both pockets done. This process may have took me about 5 to 7 minutes to do. Not bad. I want to make sure you can see it. So I'm tapping. I'm not actually ironing yet. I'm tapping the iron towards using the tip more so than the whole entire iron, because the interfacing is really thin and can actually come through. The glue comes through the backside, so it's best to grab, as you can tell, I grabbed a piece of fabric that I pre-cut for something else, but it didn't use it, so it's fine. Scrap of fabric, cotton or some kind of linen works best.
So I got the band. Like I said, I want the stretch part to reduce some of, let's say, the fullness that can be created from putting this type of band on. Sometimes you get that extra thickness. There's a way you can actually avoid that. And in case your elastic without as much issue. And that is, one, I'm going to go ahead and serge around the edge, one of the edges. Once I serge around one of the edges, I'm going to go ahead and attach one side of the waistband to my pants. You can switch this on any, literally, if the band is separate, if the band is separate from the pants pattern that you have, if the band is separate, you can do the same exact technique, reducing the fullness that you can get and worry about. Sometimes you have an issue with it sewing together properly, or you having jumping stitches. This will help. So I'm going to actually serge one edge. I'm going to attach one edge that is not serged, to the pants. Once I do that, I'm going to actually take the elastic and actually create a circle. Create your circle and secure it however best you like to secure it. I like to secure it a couple different ways. It just depends on what machine I'm using. And then after I do that, I will attach it to this, and you'll see what I mean. Hopefully it makes good sense, but here we go. I'm finding the front and the back of the pants or the band. I want to take and put the right sides together. Make sure you have your front and your back set. Use pins and or clips to attach. So when I serged my band, of course it reduced it down a little bit, but it didn't reduce it down so much that it's going to be a problem with it matching to the pants. Now you may want to make it a little bit smaller to reduce it even more, but you got to make it work for you. I'm just being slightly on the lazy side, and it's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. All right. I usually try to start at the back or the front, whichever makes more sense, but most of the time it's usually the back. It works better for me. Okay, that's better. Okay, what I'm gonna want is to make sure you put this stitch line. You don't want it to go down. You want to go up towards the waistband. Okay, and then you're gonna fold it over. And by folding it over, hold on. It'll fold over maybe a half an inch, something like a half an inch over this. About a half an inch. If it quit acting crazy, it'll sit like this. And what'll happen is when you take that stitching and have it like that, and you do a top stitch, and I'll probably use my double needle to do the top stitching to give a little bit more snazzy look, much better look. It reduces the bulk right here. Instead of it being really bulky, it actually ends up being a lot more flat, and a lot flatter looks better. It reduces the bulk in the band, and then sometimes you feel a discomfort. Sometimes, depending on the weight of fabric, it makes a difference. That instead of it being serged like this is a quicker way, but this way is a lot more elegant, and the finish looks much better. Just looks better. Quality always better. Okay.
Hey y'all, I hope you have enjoyed the process I have been going through completing this phase where I am trying to use as much of this remnant piece of fabric that I had. So I want you to go ahead and turn on your notifications. Go ahead and like and subscribe to the channel. Let me know what you think of what I've done thus far, and make sure you are ready for the second part, which is probably not going to take as long, um, especially since I'm going to reduce the time. The second part of me finishing off these pants. If you have any question about anything you've seen here or any of the tools or products that I use, go ahead and drop a comment below. Know that I appreciate anybody who watches my video, who makes a comment on my video, because it only helps me out. And also, too, if you get confused by something, please make sure you say something. I appreciate you. Much love. See y'all later. I am Leslie, your designer. Y'all have a good day. Bye.